Oh, is that recording? What's up? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the page. Welcome to the episode. Welcome to my basement because I don't really have a recording studio. So that's how this is going to get done. My name is Eric, and this is my Traxxas T-Maxx 2.5, or I should say was. This truck's got a lot of history, and it's going to be my winter project. We're going to get started on restoring it here. So the story with this truck goes, I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and my uncle actually gave this to me as a Christmas gift. Now, I've always been a gearhead, always been into cars and motorcycles, anything with an engine. So when you're 13 years old and you're handed this nitromethane-powered RC monster truck, naturally you're going to get a little excited. So I brought it home. I did all the research I could. I read magazines, I was on YouTube, I was reading books about it. I called Traxxas support on the phone, and I got it dialed in. I got it tuned, and my neighbor who actually had a Revo came over, and he helped me get this thing really running good. So shout out to Gary, and I still have the truck. So fast forward a little bit, I'm in high school now, and I start a job working at a hobby shop. The hobby shop sold Nitro RC cars and trucks, and I said, "You guys need a mechanic?" And they said, "Of course we don't need a mechanic." I said, "What happens when they break?" And they say they buy a new one. I said, no, that's not how this works. So I explained to them that these trucks and cars have replaceable parts because naturally they're going to break. So I got hired and I started working on these things, and I actually had a blast, and I kind of got a little bit of knowledge working on it. And one day I'm at work and the boss says to me, he says, "Hey, you know what? It's a slow day. Why don't you go outside and drive the shop truck around in the parking lot, kind of make some noise, attract some customers." I said, "All right, cool." So I did, and people come up naturally. "Wow, what is that? Is that a real engine? How much do those things go for?" And they make their way right into the store, and I actually made a few sales that day, so that was kind of cool. Towards the end of the day, the guy coming in to relieve me says, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go do the same. I'm going to drive around the parking lot." And I said, "All right, here you go." I hand him the controller, and I said, "I got an idea. I'm going to go home and I'm going to get my T-Maxx and we're going to bring it back and I'm going to race." And it was fun while it lasted. Within about 10 minutes, he was going one way, I went the other way. He zigged, I zagged. We ended up going right into each other head first. Combined speed of like 80 miles an hour. We were both wide open and we just hit each other head on. My truck went flying up into the air like 20 feet, and when it came down, it landed and it split into two pieces. The shop truck, naturally, without a scratch. Now, at 14 years old, with no money, working for minimum wage at this hobby shop, my heart was broken because even with the employee discount, there was no way I was going to be able to pay to fix for this thing. So I said, "You know what? I guess it's going on the shelf." So for the last 16 years, it's been sitting on a shelf in my parents' basement. They were doing a little cleaning, and my dad calls me and he says, "You got to get this thing out of here or I'm going to toss it." I said, no, don't toss it. I have an idea. So I brought it back to my house, and here we are. So I'll talk a little bit about the truck, the kind of damage that it has. Obviously it's split into two pieces. The control arms are broken. The entire rear bulkhead snapped off the chassis. I don't even want to know what's going on with the transmission and the engine. Like I said, it's been sitting there for 16 years. As far as I know, everything still spins. But this is the winter project, and I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for sticking around.